All right, good morning, traders and investors, to a looks like it'll be a volatile Thursday here. Anybody have a shovel? Because we need to dig ourselves out of a hole again here. Up and down all around with Google, but it's down. Net earnings affecting the market. Other earnings reports to cover today. Some good, some bad, mixed reactions. 8:35, Darcy Daubaras, CEO over at Hive Digital, will give us an update on his company. Folks, it's a busy day. Let's get it going on pre-market prep.
The volatility right now is really incredible.
Wow, look at that consolidation on the upper right chart.
You know what we've seen this earnings season? Some of these expected moves get even more violent. This is why I have switched my strategy 10 years ago. And if you're chasing, you're in trouble.
All right, good morning, traders and investors. We were green for a while until 7:17, and now we are in the red. 34 handle, 69.72 and a quarter, knocking on the door of yesterday's low, which we've already taken out, but back above. Buck creeping higher, up 17 cents here, having a nice rebound at 97.66. TLT flat, 86.51. USO hanging in there. Near the high of the move, down 19 cents, 77.69. You hodlers, GLD, SLV, they're coming for you, down 9.91 on the GLD. That's 2%. Silver, is there a bottom in silver? Down 14%. That's $10.81 at 68.37. And the weak link, I'm gonna have to get a bigger monitor here for this Bitcoin chart. We're down nearly 4,000 K on the futures, 69,690. We're giving Triple D the day off here. He's been working pretty hard, so he gets a well-deserved morning off here today. So one thing before I bring the Brentster on, these charts are brought to you by TradeStation, Born to Trade. Chart, analyze, customize, all on one platform. Learn more about the TradeStation platform. Got to bring Brent onto the stage here, and
good morning.
Have to start the show out on a sad note. The investment community, the world lost a great person earlier this week. For you guys that know us from Benzinga, a man that had a big part in making Benzinga what it was, relationships, data. Matt Kolb, at the age of 44 years old, has went on to has passed on, and he was a big part, as we said, of our investment experience at Benzinga, a very active person. He fought a horrible disease for a long time, and we just condolences to his family and everyone that knew him. So I'm sure Dennis will have a couple things to say about Mr. Kolb. Never short on a trading idea ever. So we will move on with that. But Matt, we're looking at you up there in the sky, and we miss you.
This sucks. Missy Kolb. Joel, you want to start us off with a little silver talk?
Oh, man. Silver. I mean, we talk about crowded trades, right? Crowded trades 101. And I got the pre-market chart here. And what happens is when you get crazy, you have this crazy move up on the right, and then people get caught. They start thinking, 100, 150 SLV, $200 silver, it's going to the moon. And then reality sets in, and you have a blow off top right there. And this is the SLV. So then the character market changes, right? You have these bad days. People are still buying the dip, and then you attempt to rebound. And that's when the moment of truth comes in. Where are the sellers are going to be? Where do people want to get out? Now, mind you, got people long down here, and people have been holding for a long time. Like, you know what? I'll hit the buck. I'll hit the bid at 80. But then you create all this new supply. So what I look for on moves like this is, okay, if this is still a bull trend, if the SLV is going to 200, then we're going to get a substantial rebound. And that rebound didn't come anywhere near the 50% retracement. We are now attempting to make a new low of the move, and I think we are making a
Right
new
here,
low of the
right
move.
now.
Yeah, right here, right now. And now what you've just done now is you've just created a new set of bag holders, right? Right here, right here. So you have these people that got caught here. I think you're still no, basically everyone 70 who got long under 70, you're in the money. You're underwater. So it's just a crowded trade. It's hard to sell on the way up because then it goes higher. But now increasingly the buy the dip gets more difficult.
All right, so Joel, you're telling me we should be really watching the 70. Oh no, 74.99. Oh no, 74.90 per ounce in silver. We are breaking the 75 level right here, right now.
Yeah. Well, I just will note. Where'd my pen go? I just had my pen out. Now I can't erase this.
Nope.
I got to get it back here. What is important to note is that if you think you're finding support here and your support is broken, wait for it to get above the support.
Sure. Other like couple macro items here, folks, and then we're gonna get to our theme: throwing good money at the bad. I hope a few of you are wondering what that's about. Joel, we have Bitcoin under what seems to be an important level at 70,000 right now. 69,830 we are at right now, down 5%, and again under seemingly an important level at 70,000. What do you think about 70,000 in Bitcoin?
I don't know. I don't know where the bottom here, and I wish that I wouldn't have drawn so much because now I can't find my pen. This is bad.
Oh, so you can't draw on your chart?
That's all I can do is draw.
Okay, well, that's okay.
No, it's not. Son of a gun. Try to do too much here. Oh, there it is. It's stuck over here.
Oh, it was like not a physical pen. It was like your pen on your computer.
Oh,
Oh
no.
my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh
Okay.
my gosh.
Now
Okay.
I'm back.
Okay.
Bitcoin. Let's go to the Bitcoin
Yes.
futures. You notice I follow. So what happens when you lose the daily? What do you do next, Brent? When you lose the daily chart, when you lose your levels, you're at the bottom of the page. What do?
You look for a level lower.
But what time frame?
Daily.
Weekly. We just lost all the dailies. Now we go to the weekly, right? This is the weekly setup. You did have some weekly lows at 70. So I would say right now, got to regain 70. The next weekly low that comes into play on this is 65,625 basis the futures.
And just to say it, as far as I have not seen any like hard news for silver or Bitcoin. Just keep in mind, we are looking at the charts here, but like fundamentally news wise, I didn't really see
I'll give you the fundamental news. They're coming after Michael Saylor. They're coming after him.
As they should be. No, I'm just joking. Sorry, Michael Saylor, if you're out there listening. Joel pulls up the MicroStrategy chart on the heels of our Bitcoin discussion. MicroStrategy, Strategy, they do have earnings tonight after the close. We're going to be tracking those tonight in the STN room, the Closing Bell show, where I am breaking news, squawk style breaking news, real-time analysis. Dennis is trading on a lot of this news. Dennis is away here this morning and in the STN room for the morning, but he will be back tonight for the Closing Bell. A couple of kind of just housekeeping things that I wanted to mention that happened yesterday. We had a bit of a freak out moment yesterday, midday. There was a headline that the Iran-US nuclear talks were rumored to be canceled. Market started falling. Market started plunging a little bit, I would even say. A couple minutes later, we learned that it seemed the disagreement was that the two parties couldn't agree on a location. Okay, I get it. That maybe makes sense. Certainly some security concerns, I would imagine. After we heard about this meeting being canceled. I believe the meeting was scheduled for Friday of this week. After we heard about the meeting being canceled, Trump came out and he gave a warning. He said Iran's supreme leader should be very worried. Market really started plunging midday when that happened. If you look at a 1 minute or a 5 minute chart from yesterday, when the market's fallen toward breaking below the 6,900 level, that's when these headlines were hitting. Shortly after, about an hour later, we heard from an Iranian official that said the talks are going to happen. We've agreed to a location. The location is the capital of Oman, and everything seemed to be okay. We are going to have U.S. Iran nuclear talks on Friday in the Oman capital. The one thing that an Iranian official said is that these are only for nuclear talks. The missile program is off the table. In other words, removing Iran's missile program is not going to be something that they will consider, but nuclear is something that they will consider.
It's getting hard to follow that news flow, right?
I know. I know. It's like getting myself back into the news of markets, it's hard if you're not at your desk all day. And I don't always want to be at my desk all day, but you kind of need to be at your desk all day sometimes. And you kind of see these little nuance and when this is hitting and when this isn't hitting. Totally, Joel. The other kind of like housekeeping thing that I just wanted to get out is we heard yesterday Trump say he had a quote very good call with the Chinese president Xi. They talked about buying more agricultural products. China buying more U.S. agricultural products. Also, Trump said they talked about China buying U.S. oil and gas. Chinese official later did come out and say we are willing to do more with the U.S. Chinese official also came out and said, yes, it seemed like Trump and Xi had a good conversation. The only warning here, kind of similar to our Iran story, China said the U.S. should be careful about their arms sale to Taiwan. None of this is very surprising, but I think it is important to note these just to know that these are kind of happening in the background a little bit.
And I think I'll kind of talk about this in broad terms. I think that the effect of these things are having very short-term effects on the market, but I think we're in an environment right now where it's not having. I mean, you have the short-term impact, but I think right now there's so many things going on in the market that these little statements are not having the same impact that they did before.
Sure.
You would think if we're making nice with China and everything, you'd see a 50, 70, things are great. Tariffs
Right.
are off. But I think
Right.
we're just in such a clouded environment right now. Haha, cloud, right? No one wants to talk about that. That these things are just, in like the Iran situation, okay, are we going to bomb them or are we sitting down to talk to them? Are we sending troops over there or are we shaking hands and making a deal?
We're on a razor's edge with that.
I'm not optimistic about anything with China or Iran. So fit that into your investment thesis and then proceed with caution.
All right, let's get to the big news last night, the big news overnight. The big news for the entire market was Google's earnings. Google's earnings were good. The report was good, but it seemed like nobody really cared about the quarter and everybody cared about the guidance. And we're going to talk about the stocks that moved on the guidance because when these moves happen, and I'll pull up Joel's Google chart here. When these moves happen, traders go around and they start bidding up and they start hitting some of these other names. And you can see it happen in real time. I'll get you the numbers here for Google's quarter. They reported Q4 earnings 282, about a 20-cent beat versus the analyst estimate. Sales, nice beat here, almost 114 billion. Analysts were down just over 111 billion. But the guidance, here's where it gets good. In their press release, Google said they're going to be looking for 2026 capex investments between 175 billion and 185 billion this year. That's what they're spending this year for capex. Little perspective, last year their capex was around 90 billion. So they're going to be spending almost 100 billion more investing in their infrastructure and their business, and right away Broadcom started moving right away. AVGO. Think about this. Google reports quarter is good, but it's nothing like blowout necessarily. Google actually starts selling off right after the quarter comes out. Broadcom, you would think these are peers. You would think that Broadcom is helping with some of the logistics, some of the infrastructure for Alphabet. You would think that they would also start selling off. No, Broadcom shares start rallying. AVGO shares start rallying right as we are digesting this CapEx number. So boom, there's your first company that we know is very sensitive to Google's CapEx spending. Then the data center names start going, the CoreWeaves and the IRENs and the Cores of the world. And then we start noticing some of the energy players moving. GE Vernova, which we, as far as we can tell, we do not know. We do not have confirmation that Google, Alphabet, and GE Vernova have some kind of deal, but it seems like the market is showing its hand in this relationship. Bloom Energy shares start moving also. Celestica, CLS starts moving higher on this CapEx thing. Somebody in the SCN chat was like, why is Celestica moving? Well, it turns out that this is considered like an Anthropic play. So people start bidding up. People start getting excited about this Google CapEx number. They start getting excited about a name like Celestica. I believe Dennis tried a trade in CEG last night. Constellation Energy. This is also an energy name here. So Joel, if you want to take a sec and look at a chart, look at the Google chart, or look at one of these peers that were moving on this news, go for it. And then we're going to kind of like break down this idea, and we're going to pull in this theme, the title from the show, throwing good money at the bad. But anything exciting in the charts here, Joel?
Wow, you mentioned a lot of stocks there. I first I want to cover the big dog. Well, first I'll give a general comment on all those stocks that are mentioned. You don't know. You don't know. You don't know who's going to what, who's getting that money. You do know who these who Google did business with previously. So that's a thing, but you don't know who's getting 20 billion, 30 billion,
Sure.
50 billion.
Great point. Yeah.
Right. Okay. Second of all, taking that into consideration, I don't know how that CEG chart trade worked out for Dennis. There is overhead supply here. So as much as people are anxious to go out and buy these stocks and make all kinds of money, that is one ugly chart. So if you're trying to buy on this kind of news, just be aware that there's a lot more people out there trying to sell into good news that are stuck on the position. So without knowing officially who's getting what, also looking at the chart patterns, I mean, you're taking a shot. And if you get the instantaneous response, then fine. But I'm telling you that right now, look at that CG over $400, $250. You got a little bit of a pop here, but boom, you're back down on the session. So that is just a general thought on all those suppliers. Before I go to the Google chart, bro.
Yeah.
On the pre-market show, you made a comment that a very scary comment, and you related this Google to another company, and you said, "Is this Google's blank moment?
Is this Google's Oracle moment?" I think we have to ask this, for better or for worse. Unfortunately, we Google and Oracle are different stories, like company wise, right? But still, we had this moment with Oracle, months ago, where Oracle gets so excited about AI and AI spend, and here months down the road, we're now in this place where we have major concerns about Oracle's ability to get all that money to invest into their AI to get to those sales. Is the same thing happening here? And we can totally even, expand this discussion further. And here's where our theme for the show goes.
Everyone says Google has the money, but you know what? You still have to think about this.
How effectively are they spending that money? Are some of these companies throwing good money at the bad? This is Spanky, isn't it, Joel?
Yeah.
Spanky he doesn't even know what he's doing. He's just like, I don't even know what this money is. Just throwing it out the window.
Yep.
There was also, we were considering gifts to use for this discussion. There was also a gift just throwing money down the toilet, just throwing cash down the toilet. I know this consideration is going to excite some people in the chat, but I think we have to ask it. Do we know where Google is going to be spending a lot of this
And
money?
you can say Oracle's funding you with the debt. Where's the return been on this AI stuff? Where, Google with a super great earnings from this? I mean, you can spend the money, you can have the money, but where's been the return on all this? There's no return. We don't know when the return is. And I think if if you just say, yeah, this is great, they're making a long-term investment, think about some other Google's long-term investments too. Waymo, okay? We can name a couple other duds. I mean, they got YouTube. They basically got YouTube and they got a search engine, right? Some of their other projects have not turned out so well. So, and if you want to look at, if you don't like Spanky, and I can take Spanky off here, look at the company that has spent the least amount of money on the AI spend. Apple. Look how that's performing. Look at that.
Sure.
So, if you think they're super smart and they're doing things the right way, right now the market's disagreeing with you. Okay.
Well, I mean, yeah, go to the Google chart, Joel. We can see what happened with Google. I mean, Google is down. Google was up. As the call was starting, the call was optimistic. I listened to the call. The call was fine. The call was good. Execs were optimistic, and still, when the call started wrapping up and the execs got through the Q&A section on the call, we sold off, and we've continued to sell off. So is the market showing its hand here for now Google, not just Oracle? I think it's at least something that we got to have on our radar for the next, good couple months here.
Yep. And I mean, you got a real bit. You've had spikes in both ways. I'm not sure what the expected move was. Phil says it's holding the expected move, so that's always a good thing to see it stay with their parameters. You got you had a spike up. I'm the spike down. I just want to see that. To me, right now, it's more important to identify support down $13. And you had a cluster of lows. Where did I find them? It was, boom. Was it? Maybe I moved it up a little bit. When I try doing in like when things get really crazy like this, don't try. Besides the expected move, I try and find an area where there's at least a couple lows, like 3 or 4 lows, because that's a sign a little bit of more institution. Oh yeah, the 312 area. If I go back to the end of December. Before you ramped up for that last rally, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 lows. I'm going to ballpark it. I'm going to call it 312. So if you just wanted, on the way down, if you just wanted to throw oh man, I want to cover this in an area of old lows, you would have gotten done, I think, on the 312 because it did spike down to 308.90. So you would have had to have your bid out there just to sit and duck, to get it done, because when it turned, you had absolutely no chance. And that's difference between, putting your numbers out there and getting hit. So right now, I still like the 312 area because we had such a bounce off that level going back. I think we went back over scratch. So let's see if we come back. That's the area. If this is a great report, I'm totally wrong about their spend. They're going to buy this thing up well ahead of 312. And maybe take it back to scratch on the day. So there is a detailed look at Google. And I do Google, and I don't do Google. And we can say Google's not Oracle. I mean, we don't know. But how many of you in your chat, when Oracle had that, were saying, oh, yeah, this is bad. If they can reach those projections, then this is going to be $1,000 stock. Well, didn't turn out to be.
And just a little counterpoint here, Joel Clino over at Wedbush with a really good morning note, and he was listening to the Google call, and there was an analyst during the Q&A on the call that asked Sundar Pichai what keeps them up at night about Google, about their business. And he gave a reassuring tone. He said, we've been on this AI first trajectory for over a decade. It's the reason why we've been working on TPUs for over a decade. At this moment, the top question is definitely around compute capacity constraints, power, land, supply chain constraints. How do we ramp that? So, to the point we're trying to make, Joel, the Sundar Pichai was giving a little color to that, but he, I think, was also giving some reassurance. Hey, we've been focused on working this for over 10 years. Let's go to a company that has been a serial underperformer, a company that is certainly the victim of memory shortages, and that is Qualcomm. Get you Qualcomm's report here. Company reporting a solid quarter and not so great guidance. Company reporting adjusted earnings 350. They beat by 10 cents. Sales also beating 12.25 billion versus 12.2 billion. Fine quarter, nice quarter. Guidance, again, not so hot. Q2 earnings expecting 245 to 265. Analysts are up near 290, and sales also worse than expected. Expected 10.2 to 11 billion. Analysts are up at about 11.1 billion for Qualcomm. Qualcomm shares trading down pretty handily here this morning, about 10% or so.
Well, worse than that, it's absolutely obliterated the low of the move. The low of the move was at 144.10. You're 10 sticks below that. You can't look at this stock even remotely looking at until you get back over that 144 area. If you're trying to bottom fish, well, I'll give you the pre-market low. Pre-market low comes in at 129.90. Let's zoom out a little bit here for Qualcomm. Weekly, does the weekly help us? This is probably the 120. Nope, that doesn't help. That's 144. This is under 140. The basis the weeklies. No, we're below 137.46. Huh. Well, let's see here. I don't want to say 120 and have you guys click the show. 131.79. If I had to give you one level for potential support, 131.79. That was your April of 2025 low, and you're getting a little confluence with the 129.90 note. 130, like if you had to say, hey, I think this is going lower, maybe another $4.50. If you start to form some 15-minute patterns ahead of that and some bases above that area, then you get a little bit more of a rebound rally here. So that's a look at Qualcomm. Travis Mann, 7.895. Should we do the SanDisk? I want to get it in here. We got
absolutely.
Yeah.
Travis, thank you for the nice $10 tip. We're going to look at SanDisk here from a technical perspective. Obviously, stock has not been able to hold over the $700 level and has broken down. I don't know if I should say broken down, but stock is down a good $150 since around that level. What's up with the chart here on SanDisk, Joel?
Full disclosure, I do have a long position in SanDisk from my spinoff from Western Digital shares that I had. So if I ever wanted to sell a stock in my portfolio, this would be it. But I probably said that at 300, 350, 400, 450, 500, 550, 600, 650, and 700. So that's not investment advice. The best thing I can tell you for your $10 is we've already taken out yesterday's low, right? So yesterday's low, have we? Yeah, we're $20 below yesterday's low. So that's resistance. All right. If you just like you're long at such a low level and you don't care about it, then just hit the bid today and move on. It will be higher, it will be lower.
Sure.
If you're trying to buy the dip on this, your next daily low doesn't come into 5. I win the 5s, right? 533 even. 533. That's $30 away. $34 away. That is absolutely nothing in this market.
Yeah.
All right?
Sure.
The other thing I would just say, and relating it to another chart, if you don't want to sell into weakness, you don't want to head for the hills, maybe you get like an SLV setup. You put two lows in at the same area. You get a little bit of a bounce. You're hoping for a 50% retracement. You didn't get it. Now it's a new low of the move. We can get rid of this retracement. So every move has a counter move. The thing about this SanDisk is I don't even know where to figure a 50% retracement from. I mean, where do you want it? From two? I don't want to scare people. I mean, 200 to 700 is a 500 point move. 200, I mean, 450, 500. That's the best I could do for you, Travis. And if I do dispose of mine, I'll let you know. But
Thanks,
man,
thanks, Joel. Thanks, Travis. We did just get some econ data, not really moving the market here, so I didn't break in or anything. Initial jobless claims coming in higher than expected for last week. 231,000 initial jobless claims. Economists were looking for a reading around 210,000. Our continuing claims were better than expected at 1.84 million last week. And economists were looking for about 1.85 million there. Market muted to jobless claims data for quite some time now. I would say a good few months. It's less exciting for us who get to break the news, but this is kind of the reality of the market that we're in right now. Pretty jaded to a lot of data.
Okay. All this data coming
Yeah.
out, jobless claims, unemployment, CPI data. Who cares? I mean, they're not going to be market movers. You have a standoff with the Fed.
Yeah.
Jerome's going to be gone in a couple months.
Yep.
I mean, they're not going unless he really wants to, go out with a bang, then he'll raise rates. But I don't think that's going to happen. We do have some inflation data, coming in, but you got to be able to shift your focus in the markets, right? And there's times when there's focus on interest rates, right? And there's a time, the Fed in the Fed meetings, Bitcoin or whatever. Right now, there's one focus, and that focus is the tech trade. Absolutely, mega cap tech absolutely falling out of bed. I mean, Google's still up there, Amazon's still up there, Apple. Once again, let me reiterate: who has spent the least amount of money on the whole AI spend?
Remember how much trash we were kind of giving Google? We were like, "Hey, Google, why don't you fix or not Google, sorry, Apple. Apple, why don't you fix Siri and get some AI capabilities in there?" We were saying this a few months ago, and now look at it, it's kind of like, oh, kind of a good thing Apple didn't do that maybe.
Yeah. Sometimes lack of innovation could be good. And this is another thing. We don't have a lot of time. We got our guest coming up in a few minutes here. Something that, Dennis alluded to yesterday.
Yeah.
I mean, they sell something that you need, right? And you're going to buy it.
Yeah.
It's not some abstract thing where you go and look up something and
Right.
then they give you an answer. Then you got to ask them about the answer. And then they answer the answer with an answer. Right?
I hear you. No, for sure. For sure. Let's do a couple. I'm going to clump a couple together, Joel, because they're related. So, and then we'll get to our guests in a minute here. So we have Elf Beauty reporting last night. We have also Estee Lauder reporting this morning. Both really good reports. Elf reporting a really strong quarter. They reported earnings 124. They beat the 70-cent estimate. Sales were beat by about $30 million. About 490 million in total. They raised their guidance. I'll also give you the Estee Lauder numbers here real quick. Estee Lauder, a beat of about 5 cents for 89 cents in earnings. Sales also beat. They also raised their guidance. They raised their guidance for this year from 190 to 210 to a new range 203 to 223. That's about mid-range where the analysts are. But look at these stocks here this morning. Elf shares trading down. No, Elf actually isn't down, but it is down from the spike after the earnings report. Stock actually spiked up to like $99, over $99. And then Estee Lauder shares trading down a good like $10 here today. Anything sticking out to you on either of these charts, Joel?
I would think that I think high bar, low bar. Right?
Elf high bar, Estee Lauder low bar.
I think the opposite.
Okay.
Estee Lauder, big
Omar.
old rally. I don't know if I have to go to a longer term chart, but you've had a great rally in this. Not so much on the weekly. Let's stick with the daily. You've had a nice rally, 85 to 120. They really got to blow it away to keep things going, and they did it. I don't know what they said in the report, and then if you look at Elf has just kind of been skimming along the bottom here. You put in a head and shoulders bottom in late November, early December, rally consolidation. So this one, I'm sure, is much farther from its all-time high too. So that's what I'm looking at. What is there another? Who's the other beauty queen in here?
Like Alta? Are you thinking?
Yeah. How's Alta doing?
ULTA.
Yeah. Is that the best in breed? How is that doing?
I'm not sure about this space.
Yeah, there it is. Alta, best in breed. So there you go. Flat on the session.
Chart tells you, huh, Joel?
Yeah, and I think that Alta is. I don't go to these stores a lot, but a little higher end shoppers still there.
I think so. Yeah.
Okay, let's talk crypto.
Let's talk crypto.
Let's talk to Darcy Daubaras. He's the CEO over at Hive Digital.
Here we go.
Another edition here of Crypto Corner. We are joined by Darcy Daubaras. He is the CFO of Hive Digital Technologies. Darcy, how you doing this morning?
I'm doing great, Joel. Very excited about the markets. Very excited about what's going on in 2026.
Okay, let's get to some recent news coming out of Hive, and you're launching your first artificial intelligence cloud platform in Paraguay, bringing AI-ready infrastructure, opening up a new chapter for high-performance computing across South America. Give us the details.
It's incredibly exciting, Joel. Paraguay, as you know, we've been down there. We love the green energy. And AI is the next level of moving from Bitcoin mining into tier 3 data centers. So we've worked with one of the largest telecommunication providers down in Paraguay. We're sending down some GPUs so that we can start building that framework and the stability of building an AI data center down there. We've got the experience, we've got the energy, and Paraguay is the next frontier for this. We've done it in Sweden, we've done it in Canada, and we're excited to do it down in Paraguay, and there's a lot of excitement around it.
Okay, so talk about the expansiveness of this platform. High performance computing, we think about it in several different uses here. Talk about all the ways that you're going to be using this platform.
Yeah, with us able to partner with the largest telecommunication provider in Paraguay, it allows us to build let's call it a testing ground, so that you can have universities, you can have research people that are in Paraguay be able to access our GPU high performance computing infrastructure and do the kind of calculations that they need to do locally. Versus having to send that off to a provider in another country, whether it's in South America or North America. So building this stability, it gives us the opportunity to look for the demands that are down there and see what it is. So it's I was going to say we're dipping our foot into the water, but we're already in the water with the Bitcoin side, and we've got the energy, and this is just going to give us that much more stability. Going all in with Paraguay and the excitement that's down there. And as we were always saying, it's green energy, which is extremely exciting for us and for the people that are looking to use these kind of products.
Could you expand on like the academic use and the healthcare use? Because we talk about AI and computing, for the data, but you don't think about it in those sectors.
No, like if you go to your hospital and they pull something up and they say, "Hey, Joel, give me your details." They type it in the computer. There's a huge database that's behind there running at a high performance computing facility somewhere. If you don't have the stability, if you don't have the uptime for that. You go in and they go, Joel, we don't know how to treat you because we don't know, what your background is. So you want to be able to have that. And if you've got all of your data stored in another country, that's not so safe. And from an academic point of view, they want to run some who knows, maybe it's chemistry models, maybe it's biology models. They do all of this testing that comes from their specialized equipment. They want to have somewhere that they can send that off to be able to get their results back. Sometimes they send those in batches and it gets run overnight. And sometimes, in the case of the healthcare, it's real time. You want to be able to access that kind of stuff whenever you can. So there's a huge demand for that, and even more of a demand for it to be localized in the country that you're operating in.
All right, so you're looking at this enterprise-grade GPU cluster, and you're looking for the initial deployment, and there's a lot of moving pieces here. When do you expect all this to begin?
Yeah, so we've already started to send down some of our GPUs into Paraguay. We're expecting to have this site up, or this test up, by the end of calendar Q1. So in the next couple of months, we're expecting to get some results from the testing, see how it's working, see what the demand is from, as you say, whether it's healthcare, from the academics, and then from there we can build on it. There's a lot of news about high performance computing, a lot of news about AI, and I think, personally, I think a lot of people are just jumping onto the bandwagon, not understanding how difficult it is. And we've proven, over the last 8 years being at Hive, that we can do this. And it's not as simple as just plugging in a Bitcoin mining machine and hooking it up to the internet. You need to have the uptime. You can only have, let's say 2 or 3 hours of downtime in a year. That's what these tier 3 and tier 4 facilities are like. So to be able to have that stability, know that you've got the expertise, is not something that someone can just spend some money on and think they're going to be able to achieve high performance and be profitable at it.
So a lot of the talk surrounding AI is where you're going to get the power, right? Nuclear power, solar. You guys have ventured into the hydroelectric power, and also the National Fiber Network in Paraguay. Talk about how scalable that is with AI and HPC operations.
Yeah, if you've got, a high performance computing data center, you need the energy, you've got to have redundant electricity, but you also have to have the dark fiber. And that's the very high speed fiber connections coming into your facility. You almost need a redundancy of that also. So if one provider goes down, you can continue to have access to the world. And in Paraguay, when you're working with the largest hydroelectric dam in the Western Hemisphere, and they've got excess electricity to sell, it's a very perfect place to set up your operations because you've got almost unlimited resources when it comes to electricity, as long as you can sign the power purchase agreement. And to be able to do this, because of the large expense that it costs to set one of these up, you want to make sure you've got a long-term electrical contract with the provider at a very reasonable rate. Because if you don't have that long-term stability in the electricity side, people aren't going to invest because the cost is so big. So you don't want to spend a whole bunch of money setting up somewhere that doesn't have stable electricity or doesn't have the dark fiber to run this kind of thing. Otherwise, you've just got a building that's got a whole bunch of GPUs in it, and you won't have any customers, and you won't be able to service anybody, because your reputation is the biggest thing. No matter what company you're in, your reputation is the biggest thing that you can sell to the market.
Where are your peers at as far as using renewable hydroelectric power for this? Are you guys out in front, or are you finding some copycats out there? Where is the competition, if there is any?
Yeah, when it comes to the competition, I think that we're way out in front when it comes to the hydroelectric and the green energy. The majority of our competitors, they'll just set up their high performance computing data centers wherever they can, cheap energy, and they don't really necessarily care where it's coming from. But if you look at the people out there, what their sources of electricity are, from the research we've done and looked at, Hive is way ahead of the curve when it comes to that. So that's one of the selling points that we've got when we're going out and talking to, whether it's hyperscalers to get someone into one of our facilities, whether it's a hospital or a research, is it's green energy. You're not going to be running your stuff on coal or some other energy source that may not be stable. If you're going down the path of doing, let's say, solar. Solar is great when it's sunny out there, but you've got to have the infrastructure and the technology on the battery side to make sure that you can store that kind of energy. Or wind, same thing. You got to be able to store it, and those facilities are great for Bitcoin mining. But when you get into high performance computing, you need the stability because you can't be looking around going, what if this battery goes down? So we've always been leading the pack, whether it's on the AI side or on the hash power Bitcoin side, being green energy. Not too many people are following us on that. They take the easy route, in my opinion.
Okay, so let's just to put this to wrap this up. I mean, this is something that Hive's been working on for years, right? You have putting the you have the existing digital infrastructure presence. You're complementing it. It's tier one with the Bitcoin mining data center operations. How long has this been going on? And walk us through this moving forward.
Yeah, so Hive's been doing, this kind of data center stuff since 2017, starting out in Iceland, then into Sweden, then into Canada, and then in the last 12 months down in Paraguay. And, so we're very diversified in terms of what we're doing. It's always been green energy, and the footprint that we have already put down in Paraguay physically with these 300 megawatts that we're running in 2 different sites, with the experienced staff that we have down there and the very good relationships we have with the government, with the energy providers, are building a framework and a stability for us to build forward. In most of the countries that we're in, we've started out, sort of as the tier one Bitcoin miner. But what you can do is you've got that electricity, and that electricity can now be used for high performance computing. So it's getting that stability, getting the house built with that foundation, so to speak, and then building from that. If you're going in with no experience of a country and you think you're going to be able to do the AI, it's a lot more challenging. So it's a great stepping stone that we've used, over the last 7 to 8 years with Hive, is going in, doing the tier one, and then building off of that into the tier 3, which we've done in Canada, and we're looking at doing down in Paraguay.
Okay, just a general question here. Your Bitcoin mining, right? Boy, oh boy, Bitcoin price, volatile as usual here in the markets. Every day it's something else going on right in these markets. What would be your message to investors that are looking at Hive and saying, well, I see the uses, I see the AI uses and stuff. I'm still primarily a Bitcoin mining company, but I'm really worried about the price of Bitcoin. What would you say to that investor?
Yeah, you know what? The price of Bitcoin, as you said, Joel, it's always been volatile. I think a lot of the volatility is sort of fallen out. You're not seeing as high spikes up and down. So there's going to be less of that moving forward. But from Hive as an investment, I think it's because of what we call our dual engine approach. We've got the Bitcoin side, and we've also got a high performance computing side with our subsidiary Buzz. There's going to be a huge amount of excitement on the Buzz side going through calendar 2026 as we work on our first megawatt that's going to be in Canada, in Winnipeg, Manitoba, with our arrangement with Bell, which is the largest telecommunication provider in Canada. We've got a facility at the Toronto airport that we're working on. So I think with having that dual engine approach, the high performance computing side, when we get those customers in, get those things built, it's going to be an engine that is going to produce stable revenue that's going to help Hive through any of these ups and downs that we've had with Bitcoin. But it's not going to be a full switch from one to the other. It's going forward on both sides, because if you have an energy source that may not be as stable and you can afford to go down every once in a while, it's very perfect for the Bitcoin mining. And then you use the real stable energy where you can have 99.99% uptime. You use that for your high performance computing side. So it's a great yin and yang between the two that's going to push Hive through 2026 and well past that.
Darcy Daubaras, CFO over there at Hive Digital Technologies, taking a diverse approach to AI, Bitcoin mining, and the markets as well. Darcy, always a pleasure. We'll be talking to you again soon.
Thanks a lot, Joel.
Sorry to Darcy, I kind of cut him off there at the end. Joel, you are on mute. Good interview. Thank you for that. By the way, let's get to something else from this morning. I think it was this morning. You want to do Symbiotic? Let's do Symbiotic real quick.
Let's do something good. Can we do something good? I mean, the market, we're tanking here. We're taking out the pre-market low soon. Let's do talk robotics.
SYM. This might be as good as we can get.
Now it's down.
The game. We wanted to do Symbiotic anyways, but we also were like, oh, we should do it. The stock was really doing good. The report was really good. It's given up most of the gains now, folks, unfortunately. But Symbiotics is a robotics company that Dennis has had on his radar for quite some time. The SCN Room has had on their radar for quite some time. The quarter was mixed. They reported earnings of 2 cents. They missed by a penny. Sales did beat, but the guidance was strong. They said they're looking for Q2 sales in the range of 650 million to 670 million. Analysts are down at 640 million. This one is interesting for a couple reasons, but for one reason, as far as we've been able to tell, this is the robotics company. This is the publicly traded robotics company with the most sales.
Sales?
Yes, the most sales. I just read the sales. They have millions in quarterly sales. So I understand we look at a lot of these robotics names and they are not operating in profit. Some of them are even pre-sales. Symbiotic is not one of those. Symbiotic is generating a lot of money each quarter, a lot of money each year. What about the chart, Joel? The stock was trading around $60. It was up a good $5 on this seemingly strong guidance, but we have lost our pre-market after hours and pre-market gains, and it looks like we're approaching the close right now.
Yeah, at least there's a little something positive to say about this stock. It's not smashing through its low of the move, right? So that's. And I drew a box here. There's an area. The recent low of the move for this down move was made yesterday. You have not seen that yet in the pre-market. You also had a dip under 50 back in November. You had multiple lows in the 48 to 50 area. So flat today. I'd like to see a little bit more of a base here, maybe a couple quiet days after this report, but at least it hasn't, smashed through, and yet that's at your 200 days. So, if that's your target, on the downside, maybe start nibbling. A lot of times you'll see a breach of the 200 day and then it flirts with it for a while. But just going back, I just want to reiterate, I don't know if Travis is still around when talking about the SanDisk move. When the stocks come off these parabolic moves, right, and they have the down move, then they try the rebound. Where does that rebound get you to? This one might have been a 50%er. I'm ballparking it and got a little bit above it. You would have, went to, $72 off this move, but look how long it hung out there. Couldn't decide to form a base there and you're back down. So Travis, if you're still around, I just wanted to equate that that strategy or a way to approach a stock that makes a crazy high, declines, and then attempts to rebound.
Joel, let's talk about a China name here that
China.
is getting a favorable move higher in after hours and pre-market session. Baidu coming out with news last night. They said that they are announcing a $5 billion buyback plan, and they also are going to be doing a dividend. This is going to be their first dividend. They said they're going to be doing a dividend. They have not yet declared this dividend. So to be clear, if you saw this news and you own shares of Baidu, you're not like getting the dividend yet. We don't know what the dividend is yet. The company said the board expects to declare the first dividend payment in 2026. I think that's as much info as they gave. But shares here this morning trading up a good like $5 on this news.
I mean, it's been down 3 out of like the last, they call it 7, 8 sessions, but 2 of those days were basically one small gain and unched. I would just say if you wanted to exit, you're gonna have some company here. You want to make sure you get back up to that pre-market high. Pre-market high comes in at 145.22. So that would be a target. That's back here. That's not even at your 2-day high. So you have leaked. Let's get to 145.22. If you're looking to buy this little dip here, you like the move, the top of yesterday's range could definitely come into play at 141.49.
All right, Joel, we're going to do a few ratings here real quick. Couple ratings. And our rating section, of course, brought to you by The Fly, your source for over 1,000 breaking news articles daily, delivered in real time with custom filters and alerts. Discover The Fly's new Pro platform with AI-powered company analysis, unique KPI charts for deeper insights. There's a QR code on screen right now in that nice little banner that Josh made us in the lower right-hand corner. If you scan that on your phone, you'll get over to thefly.com. You can also, of course, just go over to .com to learn more about The Fly. Joel already knows it. We're going to start off with Microsoft here. Microsoft last night catching a downgrade, a Stifel analyst pulling Microsoft shares away from buy recommendation to a hold recommendation. I'll give it a little color here, Joel, and then I'll let you take a look at the chart if you don't mind. Fly, thanks for the color here. Given the well-documented Azure supply issues coupled with Google's strong cloud platform and Gemini results this evening, this was yesterday, and growing Anthropic momentum, a near-term Azure acceleration is unlikely, the analyst tells investors in a research note. 2027 is also likely to have less in-period revenue recognition as 2026 befitted from several product cycles. Stifel is modeling 2027 earnings around 1870, which is, quote, meaningfully below the analyst consensus estimate. What's going on with the chart here in Microsoft heading into today's open, Joel?
Let's make it simple.
Like
I'm
it.
not going to try and pick a bottom because it doesn't do any good in this stock that has been put in the herd to me. 409. Got a old former double bottom, now resistance. Microsoft needs to get back above 409. Fill the gap for the day or to have any meaningful life of rallying, it needs to get back over 409. And I'll probably be saying 399 tomorrow, 389 the next day. And no, I'm just joking. 409 is my number.
Want to do one more here real quick, Joel. The ticker is DOCN, Digital Ocean. DOCN. Upgraded to overweight.
Beautiful chart. Okay.
Yeah. Upgraded to overweight at Cantor Fitzgerald. I'll read some color here. Thanks to The Fly. The firm says the company's Digital Ocean's digital native focused and developer first approach to providing hyperscale services to the mass market is well positioned to scale up the market. This will drive profitable growth and re-rating of the shares. Cantor expects continued scaling of the company's business, including large customer wins. Have you looked at this chart before, Joel?
I don't know. I'm thinking, wow, really all time high, this thing's really a beast. And then I go to the weekly And I'm like, well, yeah, it still looks pretty good on the weekly. And then I go to the monthly and I'm like, this has got some room. I'm going to give a little advice to Canner. Not a great day to give an upgrade on a stock.
So you would rate this rating
B minus.
B minus. That's generous even, but
yeah,
okay.
C.
You said it, not I.
Yeah. So what I would say, first things first, when you see a rating like this in a down market, continuing to make new lows in the S&Ps as we speak, 58.14, you did sneak above it in the pre-market. Let's get above 58.14. If in fact you can clear that level, there's someone waiting there with their 60 offers. Twice we got over 60 in the last 3 days, 60.10, 60.33. High close of the move, 59.81. So if in fact it can go against this market and rally, $60 be a good target for me on a short-term basis. Well, folks, thanks for joining us here on this Thursday here. We covered a lot. We got earnings after the close, but we'll be previewing all that stuff in the Stock Trader Network, getting us set up for the open, drilling down on some technicals. We also missed some news for you here. We'll talk about HIMS and the other stocks are moving. Hey, all you STNers, get your tickers ready. We're going to do some ticker time over there. Thanks for being with us today, Brent. Great job. Michael Feehan hanging out there in the background. Appreciate him as well. That's it for today, folks, on Pre-Market Prep.